This morning's edition of BBC Breakfast saw a heated debate between Charlie and his guest Nick, discussing the parole of the convicted black cab rapist John Worboys. Charlie was interrogating Nick on the proceedings during his time as head of the parole board. However, none of the answers Nick gave throughout the interview were not sufficient to Charlie, as he kept butting in mid-sentence. Whilst detailing the position of the Justice Secretary, Charlie cut in for the first time. "So Mr. Hardwick, if I may," he shouted over Nick, "you detail what looks like a catalogue of details directly related to a terrible decision that was made, yet you say in the same breath that the Justice Secretary should remain in place. I think the last thing that we need is a change in Justice Secretary," he replied exasperatedly. "I fully accept our role in this, others should do likewise," but the interruptions didn't stop there, as Charlie continued to stop Nick's questions. At BBC Breakfast, Charlie Stayt is the rudest interviewer on TV. He asks questions and doesn't let people answer them. When they can get a word in, he aggressively challenges the answers. "I am going to watch ITV the days he protests on." Susan Ellison. At Susan Ellison 10, March 29, 2018 at BBC Breakfast News Flash, Charlie Stayt gets flustered by interviewee actually answering a question, forcing him to repeat the question 3 times. Lee Daly, at Lee on the Guitar, March 29, 2018 "Please Charlie, let the people speak first and then speak for yourself. It's not nice to do that every time again." Henk Boer, Amsterdam, at Boer, March 29, 2018 Nick continued, "In this exceptional case they could have gone on to some of those alleged offences and used," before Charlie cut in again. "Can you just explain that for us? Can you just explain? Did you simply not know that you could do that?" And during his answer, Charlie dove in once again saying, "But I think, could I just ask you one other thing?" As Nick answered this follow-up, Charlie continued to pry into his answers before he had finished. "Mr. Hardwick, if I may, please can you address these serious issues?" Getting completely fed up with the constant interruptions, Nick finally said, "I'm not very clear why my answer isn't sufficient. Less than 1% of the people who come before us go on to make another serious offense. I think that's a pretty clear answer."
Isn't it? Viewers on Twitter were quick to point out the strange interview, with one commenting, "Getting really tired of
the interviews this morning was nothing new. Well done to the gentleman from the parole board for keeping cool," one added. "The man answered the question to the best of his ability, and yet the presenter kept asking nonsense at BBC Breakfast." Another threatened to boycott the show, saying, "At BBC Breakfast, Charlie Stayt is the rudest interviewer on TV. He asks questions and doesn't let people answer them. When they can get a word in, he aggressively challenges the answers. I am going to watch ITV the days he protests on." BBC Breakfast airs weekdays at 6 a.m. on BBC One.